What's good, defenders? I'm not happy. You're probably not happy. I know Philly's not happy. But this is the LAFC podcast heard in over 100 countries worldwide. This is Defenders of the Banc, episode 272. More turf trouble, it looks like, for LAFC. You know my voice. It's the scarf, your friendly neighborhood scarf, J.R. Liebert. Coming to you live from the semi-famous Scarf Wall? I don't know. Lawndale, California. That's what kind of a day it's been. Turf, man. I blame turf. I blame it all on turf. Philly, help us out, my friend. This is the one, the only Christian Philly Philemon, the platinum-haired, colored flamingo. That sucked.
Yeah. Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer, lovers of the beautiful game, and hello to our family, the millions
and millions
of Defenders of the Banc listeners. You said it, episode 272, the breakdown of the breakdown in Charlotte. Scarf, our beloved club, flew into the Queen City as kings with confidence and our heads held up high, and we got our butts handed to us. Not by a better team, although at moments they were. Now, our club is boarding a plane and we get to fly out like jesters with our crown dented up a little bit, needing to recalibrate, regroup, and of course, reassess before we prepare to get infiltrated by a sea of fake Inter Miami fans, or even worse, fans wearing messy Miami jerseys and LAFC hats. Gross. If you're an adult, you should know better. And for the kids, like if you were my kid doing that, I'd ground you. Club over player. Sorry, that's just how it works. But I digress. Yeah, you said it. Not a great game today, Scarf. Not well played. Not a good version of ourselves in the final third. The passing was off. Shots not on target. Some bright spots, but not a lot. I think the professional term for today's performance is meh or blah. A lot of mehs and a lot of blahs. But if we can look at any kind of silver lining, it would be that, well, not a lot of ground was given up in the Western standings because, well, that's what we're playing for, defenders. Supporter Shield isn't happening, so I hope most of us have already accepted that, at least hopefully anyway. And, yeah, it's not a glass half empty approach. Nor, you know me, Scarf. I'm a little more upbeat than that. I'm just brutally sober and honest at this point. Not melancholy, not terribly concerned. I just really, really, really hate losing at anything. It bothers me. It just doesn't tickle anything. It just grinds my gears, and we're going to go over that more.
Look, this had all the makings of I don't know if it's a trap game or not, right? I don't know what you call it. When you don't have Giorgio Chiellini starting, you knew that was going to be trouble. You knew that wasn't going to happen because Turf and Giorgio usually don't mix. Plus, he played 3 days ago. We're trying to conserve Giorgio. You don't have Cheeky Palacios dealing with a family matter, and we hope everything goes okay with Cheeky Palacios. We've heard some things, but we're not going to comment on them just yet. We just hope that everything is good with Cheeky Palacios. When you are traveling 5 hours for a flight, on your flight, 3-hour time difference, playing on turf, 88 degrees, that was in the air. I believe on the pitch, it was something like 94. Something like that. Gross. And look, it's a lot of excuses that we're making, right? When you also don't finish your chances and when you commit turnovers that lead to 2 goals. I'm sorry, but you don't deserve to win. Kudos to Charlotte because Charlotte won this game. We did a lot of things that we should have done to win this game, but it's not like LAFC lost this. Charlotte took it to us from the opening whistle all the way through. And look, I think if their manager, if you could have asked Christian Lattanzio, if you could have asked him how he wanted this match to play out, to go as hard as he can with his starters for about 65, 70 minutes, and then bring in exactly who he brought in off the bench, and then for that to work the way that it did, it went perfectly according to script for Charlotte. And this was a very, very frustrating match to watch. It's frustrating that we can't be there to support our black and gold, but it's even more frustrating to have to watch it on Apple TV.
You're right. I mean, Christian Lattanzio played this game to perfection. Subs came in at the proper time and really made an impact. And you can say the same thing for LAFC and what Steve did, because when we launched some subs into the game, all of a sudden the trajectory of things changed for the positive. It seemed like a very anemic performance for the first 60 or so minutes. And I really thought that Steve was baiting Latanzio really well, letting them control the vast majority of possession and just waiting for them to make a mistake so we could come back and counter. Problem is, we didn't really get too many opportunities. And another problem was we didn't really have too many shots on target, at least not within the first half. Didn't think they would sustain that kind of a pace, but yet they did. And, well, we got our butts handed to us. But obviously, we'll break down the breakdown momentarily. You normally give the Flex sponsor promo, so you do that. And when you do that, I got to go do the other part of the Flex thing. You just are so eloquent with your words. I don't think I would do Flex as much justice by doing the reads like you.
All right. I vote next episode, though. I'll give you, plenty of warning now. You got 8 days, right? I vote next episode. You do the Flex read. How's that?
That's fine. If I have preparation, I can do it. I have no problem doing the reads, but I'm just never prepared for them. You, on the other hand, are, because, well, you've done them every episode. Anytime you say Flex, I just do this, or I pull out the boombox and make some kind of like funny gesture as to how I don't know how to operate anything in my house, and you usually take care of business.
All right. Well, and by the way, I didn't even write down the first time we did it. We're just kind of doing this off the top, and it worked out really well. We are so incredibly happy to be part of the Flex family, flexpowertools.com. These guys, right? Wait, there we go. These guys right here on the front of the kit with that crest being in the middle. I got to pull it up a little bit higher. Now I got to pull it all the way back down. That was fun for everybody.
Amazing you didn't show us your belly button, Scott.
No, thank you. Flexpowertools.com. Head on over to flexpowertools.com for all your Flex Power Tools needs. Remember, a lifetime warranty for anything in the box, as long as you buy it before January 1st, 2024. Lifetime warranty, you guys. So if just by chance one of those amazing Flex Power Tools breaks or is giving you a little trouble or something happens to it, if you register it on the website, you just call them up or you shoot them an email, do whatever it is the cool kids do these days, and they'll just send you a Flex Power Tool right back, a brand new one. Has a full lifetime warranty. Flexpowertools.com for all your Flex Power Tools needs.
Hey, just a quick question for the procrastinators in the group. Hi,
yes.
It's me, the procrastinator of the group.
Yes.
If I didn't mistakenly hear you, you said January 1st. Are we sure it's not December 31st?
Well, you need to buy it before January 1st.
So if I bought it at 12:01, January 1, 2024, I am what the kids would call SOL.
Yes, you do not get a full lifetime warranty on your Flex Power Tool.
Thank you for clarifying that. Again, hi, it's me. I procrastinate. And as far as Flex events are concerned, defenders, there's another one going on Thursday, August. I was about to say October. Thursday, August the 31st, from 11 to 2 at the Lowe's of Mid-City. Now, as we mentioned in previous podcasts, last time with John McCarthy was the final player appearance. There's not going to be a player in the activation for this LAFC Flex event, but there will be a Falcon by the name of Ali. So come over to Lowe's of Mid-City. Ali will be there 11 to 2. I'm sure there's going to be some raffles, as there always are. And if you are in the industry where you think about power tools, or you are on the fence about buying a Flex Power Tool, you will have all the opportunity to go out there and test drive these instruments. Look, I can tell you first and foremost, I'm not a handy guy. I grew up in a city, and all I would do to fix things, I'd pick up the phone and call the superintendent. But I did have the opportunity working with Scarf and Flex on a Habitat for Humanity project, and I did use a power tool. And although I managed to make a screw spark and smoke for a little bit, I successfully learned how to use power tools, and these things are pretty darn good. It would really be the equivalent of taking a hot knife through butter. At least that's the way I perceived it to be. So a reminder again, 8:31, Lowe's of Mid-City, Flex and LAFC event. Come meet Ali. Come play with some power tools.
That's right. Don't forget the Mauricio Facio Futsal Court fundraising effort still underway. LAFC.com/Mo-Facio for all your fundraising needs. Head on over there, and they would love a donation. I'm telling you, Philly, we got to get this court funded, built, so that you and I can terribly get out there and play a little bit of futsal to honor the memory of Mo. It seems like it was only yesterday, but out there on Christmas Tree Lane with him. But head on over to LAFC.com. /Mo-Facio. Philly, I'm gonna up the donation number today for all of you that are listening. It would be so cool if there was somebody out there that could actually show us your donation receipt just one time. We would love to see if you're actually donating along with what we suggest. Philly, I'm gonna go with the donation number will be $104. That's right. We're trying to raise some money tonight. $104. The reason why I go with 104, I was shocked to find out that we have finally been listened to in Fiji. Fiji, of all places, the 104th country that has listened to Defenders of the Banc. 104 countries. We did get a listen from the Russian Federation. That's an interesting one.
That might be the hack scenario that I was afraid about when YouTube was alerting me, and I had to make sure it was you.
That's okay. Someone there was listening to the podcast. It's okay. But Fiji, Philly, Fiji.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm just curious where, because, well, Fiji is an archipelago of 330 islands. And I would know this because I spent some time in the Mamanuca chain of those islands, about a couple of miles offshore from where Tom Hanks filmed the movie Castaway. Fiji's pretty dope. You have to take a boat everywhere because nothing's connected, but yay, Fiji. Love their rugby team, by the way.
That chain again was the what chain?
The Mamanuca chain.
God bless you. All right.
The island that I stayed on, if you really want to know, it's got a phenomenal resort. If you got funds to burn, Defenders, and you're looking for a place to stay in Fiji on one of those 330 islands, I recommend the island of Tokoriki, or at least the resort. Tokoriki, Tokoriki. Tokoriki.
That's Tokoriki in the Mamanuca chain on Fiji.
Did I just blow your mind on that one, Scott?
I mean, you definitely did the Alice Cooper and Wayne's World. Does this guy know how to party or what? Like that was. I'm impressed, my friend. This is pretty good. Nicely done. Listen, we got some plans tomorrow morning. Questionable people on the advertising on this one. If you look who LAFC uses for all their advertising for this, but tomorrow, and I'm going to throw this very quickly right back to one Christian Philly Philemon. Tomorrow, there is allegedly an LAFC Bayern Munich watch party, if you believe the advertising. And again, the people they use, sketchy at best. But Philly, will you tell us about what's going on tomorrow with the Bayern watch party, please?
Yeah, so a House of Football tomorrow. Get there between 7:30 and 8 a.m. Oof. There will be a watch party. Remember that red and gold partnership that we announced not that long ago? Yeah, this is an activation. This is a fun thing where we all get together with the Mia Sun Hollywood supporters group. They're Bayern Munich supporters and Bayern Munich fans and several supporters from LAFC. It's going to be a morning of kegs and eggs. Feel like I'm back in college again. I love it. Kegs and eggs, although I'll be having more eggs than kegs, that's for sure. FC Bayern starts they have their home opener against Augsburg, FC Augsburg, the former home of one Ricardo Pepi. And it'll be a fun event. There's going to be a raffle. Things are going to get donated and won. I believe there's some articles signed by both Carlos Vela and Giorgio Chiellini. So that's going to be cool. Food and drink is going to be available, so if you get there while supplies last, you can feed yourself and hydrate yourself properly. If you are there at 10:30, you are SOL because the game will be over, and Harry Kane and FC Bayern would have won another game. And here's a fun fact for you. FC Bayern has not lost a home game a home game to start the season since 2011. So doubt that they're going to lose to a team that, well, wasn't very good in the Bundesliga last season. It isn't going to be very good this season. You need to RSVP, though. Take a look at the Defender story. There's an RSVP link in there. It's for tracking purposes, so hit it up. Do that. There are a fair amount of people that are going to be at the event, Scarf, so it'll be fun. Bundesliga kicking off their second week of action.
Yeah, and I know how much you like House of Football, so that's fun. Look, it's early in the morning, y'all, but if you don't have anything else to do on a Sunday, get out there, RSVP, get out there. It'll be lots of fun. Augsburg is not good. I was looking up. They already lost in that DFB Pokal Cup.
To a third-tier club.
Yeah. That's
Unterhaching.
Yeah. What?
Unterhaching, I think, is the club they lost.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. We got Mamanuku and one more time?
Unterhaching.
Yeah, you're having a solid day.
Third-tier club, not even considered Bundesliga. Actually, very discouraging and disappointing for them to lose that. Although they did play a really good game recently, a 4-4 draw last week. That was against Borussia Mönchengladbach. That was an entertaining game.
So we're going to get on to this day in LAFC history, news and notes, and a breakdown of our breakdown against Charlotte. Very quick, this day in LAFC history. This was actually, I don't know, I enjoyed this. We're recording this, luckily, on the same day of the match. It is August 26th. And on August 26, 2018, LAFC holds its first annual season member appreciation day. That was the fun one where we went all around, got some autographs, said goodbye to Laurent Simon because everybody knew he was leaving. Like literally, I think he left from that event and just drove home and never seen from again in black and gold. But that was August 26, 2018, the open practice and autograph signing. I am all for another open practice. That would be so much fun. Obviously, to see them practice out at BMO, not a place where they normally do practice. Obviously, the training center out of the campus of Cal State LA. But it would be really cool just to have an open practice out there, be able to meet all the players. I mean, that was a really, really cool thing that they did that year. Second year was a little rough, but the first year they did was really great. So that's this day in LAFC history. News and notes. I've got an Angel City Minute and LAFC 2 recap, Philly. You have any other news and notes for us on the schedule?
No, not since Wednesday. I mean, not a whole lot has happened other than the fact that we flew to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Not we, the team.
You did. You flew to Charlotte. No?
No, I did not fly. My
All right. Well,
I'm tired.
Since Wednesday, ACFC still has not played. Angel City continue to resume their quest for the playoffs on Sunday. That's tomorrow with a home match at BMO against Rose Lavelle and the Megan Rapinoe Retirement Tour. OL Reign coming to BMO. 6 matches to go in the season and 6 points out of a playoff spot, even though they have not lost. I believe that's correct, right? They have not lost in the Becky Tweed era.
They have not. They've only won or drawn.
Yeah, it's been a lot of draws, unfortunately, so it's hard to pick up a lot of ground in the standings. But either way, playing much, much better with Becky Tweed at the helm. So head on over tomorrow after your kegs and, what was it? Kegs and eggs?
Kegs and eggs, baby. You went to college. You don't remember these things?
I went to LMU. We didn't really have kegs and eggs. Anyways,
why doesn't LMU like fun?
We had both of those things. Anyways, LAFC 2 fell 1-0 to the Real Monarchs yesterday, August 25th at Titan Stadium. It was indeed that 15-year-old kid that we were talking about, Axel Kai, who scored the only goal of the match. I've got to say this about Axel Kai. He is 15 years old, allegedly, by the way, because he's like twice my size and twice my height. He's a huge
Danny Almonte. That's what I'm smelling around here.
Very well could, but would not surprise me if we find out this kid is like 18 or 19.
That's your homework assignment, defenders. Look up who Danny Almonte is.
Hey, by the way, hold on. Speaking of the Little League World Series, El Segundo, California, winning the United States bracket, baby. Let's go.
Should I hit the button?
Yeah, hit the button. All right, so here's the deal. I am born and raised in the South Bay of Southern California. That is Torrance, that is Lawndale, that is Manhattan Beach, El Segundo, Hermosa Beach, all the different places in and around that beach area. I think I didn't mention Redondo Beach, but that's in there too. And so look, a few years ago, what was it, 2019, 2020? Torrance, California, my hometown, the Little League that I played for, they made it to the Little League World Series, won a couple of games before being dispatched in the year that Hawaii won. And look, this is so cool that another team from the South Bay, El Segundo, California, not only making it to the Little League World Series, because that's hard enough, but they have won the United States bracket. They will be taking on Curaçao, who lost last year's final to that Hawaii team that just destroyed everybody. So Curaçao now back-to-back finals, 5 players from that team last year on the team from Curaçao this year against El Segundo. So excited, man. Oh, my God. I'm actually going to watch. I am not a fan of watching the Little League World Series on television. I think it's too much pressure too soon for 11 and 12-year-old kids. I really do. It's just a lot. And every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But how cool is that? El Segundo, California. That was a huge tangent from watching this 15-year-old kid. I'll say this.
Phillied.
What's that?
You Phillied.
I totally did.
You went off tangent.
I totally did. This 15-year-old kid, I know he's 15, right? Allegedly. but man, did he make it hard to like him as a player. He's dropping F-bombs and cursing out referees and other players, yelling at his own team. I have bad props to Tony Leone. He stepped up and he went toe-to-toe with this big 15-year-old kid. There's a reason why, and if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Axel Kai, who plays for Real Monarchs, actually signed a first-team contract with Real Salt Lake at 14 years old, breaking Freddie Adu's record to be the youngest MLS player ever signed. And I don't, look, I teach middle school. I teach kids that are literally a year and a half, 2 years younger than this kid. But, yeah, normally I'd be rooting for kids like that. This kid was tough to like, man. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Sorry. I don't know where you're supposed to go from that, Philly. It's not really a good segue for you. Anyways, their next match is September 1st against Austin Deuce. Also, don't forget to mark your calendar for September 9th as LAFC 2 takes on Los Gros Galaxy 2 at Dignity Health Sports Park. For the love of God, let's get into this Charlotte match, please.
Yeah, Scarf, getting into this. We mentioned on One More Sleep, and not a whole lot of people listen to One More Sleep, and I think I figured out why. I didn't advertise it as well. So my bad, defenders. One More Sleep was up. It was. So sorry if you didn't know about that. But in One More Sleep, we had mentioned the fact that Charlotte was a team that was 23rd overall in Major League Soccer and 12th place in the Eastern Conference. Albeit, though, a team that has actually performed relatively well in the League's Cup. You know what Charlotte had in common with LAFC in the League's Cup, Scarf?
We both made it to the quarterfinals.
Exactly. We both made it to the quarterfinals. And Charlotte did so by competing with some really good teams. But then they got brought back to reality. They had no gravity when they ran into the inner Messi machine, getting smoked like a pack of cools, 4-0. Now that the League's Cup is over, this is a team that hasn't won since May. I had to think of what the 5th month of the year was, May 27th. And that was a game in which Charlotte beat the Galaxy 1-0. That was the last time that they had won. And while you were doing your donation number thing to the Mauricio Facio futsal court, you didn't ask me what my number was. I was going to give you the number 90 because it's been about 90 days since Charlotte last won a Major League Soccer game, and we handed them their 7th win of the season. Pathetic. But that's the story there. A team that signed some players and some really good players that we're going to talk about who did return from last season. Our history against them is very minimal. We only played them once. It was last year. We won up on 5-0, but they got the revenge today.
Yeah.
Starting lineups, unless you have anything else.
Yeah, no, look, this is just a club, by the way, a familiar face on the bench, although he's injured, one in Pablo Cisniega. Missed that guy out there. He was his dad, by the way, in charge of, I think, the Mexican Soccer Federation right now. If I remember correctly, he's pretty high up.
They put a track and field Olympian in charge of the federation.
Hey, they put a winner.
A lot of good things going on. Speaking of federation, Spain, shame on you, and that's all I'll say on that.
Actually, Spain's federation is trying to get this guy out, right? Or is it? Are they not trying to get him? I don't even know anymore. FIFA suspended the guy.
By FIFA, but the guy he did the Wolf of Wall Street. I will not resign type deal. What honestly, what a POS! Like everything he did, from grabbing his crotch around like royalty. What a POS! Like this dude just needs to get hung by his cojones and fry. What a garbage human being.
I mean, I don't necessarily want him to fry, but he did double down on stupid. And then you're right. It's the Federation that doubled down on stupid by saying, oh, no, we're upset at Jenny Hermoso because what she's saying.
Legal matter, because like what she said was false. Give me a break. The team just wins the World Cup and you're going to tarnish it because of your chauvinistic, disgusting tendencies. Like, it makes my blood boil that we live in this kind of society where POSs like that are in positions of power and abuse the hell out of that.
Yeah,
put you in power, put me in power. We're good guys.
And I have a real problem with the following excuse. Oh, I was just so wrapped up in the moment. It was so euphoric that I maybe sexually assaulted a woman. Like, not
or that's just how Europeans are. No, man, like I grew up in a household of European. I'm first generation born to European immigrants. We never were that close with anybody to where, we cross those kinds of lines. So this whole thing about it's a European culture thing, horse pucky, never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened when I lived in Germany. Never happened when I spent summers in the UK. I never saw any of that.
No, it's an absolute joke. And look, if he really wanted to make it about being the most important moment in Spanish football history for these women, then you just shut the hell up, sit down, and get out. You stop making it about you, and you just put the focus back on the players. Either way, this dude is absolutely despicable, and I'm glad that he's getting all the heat that he's getting. He absolutely deserves it. Just a POS human. Anyways,
yeah, we should probably talk about this game. I think you and I are just subconsciously like just deflecting because I just this game sucked and I don't want to talk about it, but we have to. That's what we're here for.
Let's get into it. They came in 6 wins, 9 losses, 8 draws, giving up 40 goals on the season, the worst in Major League Soccer, a -10 goal differential. You can do math. 12th in the East, 6 points back of a playoff spot with 11 matches to play. They had everything to play for, and it absolutely felt like it today, watching the way that they took it to us. And again, they took it to us for most of this match. Manager Christian Latanzio, an Italian. This is his first role as a head man, but he does have experience with Manchester City, NYCFC, and with some pretty big coaching names over in Italy. He's definitely doing a fantastic job, led Charlotte on a pretty solid run towards the end of last season as they came, I think it was like 3 points short of a playoff spot last year. He's going to have to do the same this year. He's got a little bit more runway than he did last year. He needed to win all 5 of his remaining matches. Last season didn't quite do it, but again, has this team in an okay position, especially after the result today. MLSsoccer.com calls it a 4-1-4-1 formation, and not having Enzo Copetti, you would think would be a pretty big blow for this club. But you know what? Enzo Copetti really hasn't done all that much for Charlotte FC since he came over, so not that big of a deal. Also, of course, we mentioned him for just a brief moment, but Pablo Cisniega is battling the injury bug as well. Their keeper, though, not sure that Pablo would see the pitch with the likes of Christian Kalina out there, the 31-year-old Croatian who I would say you could probably put in the top 10 keepers in Major League Soccer. Yeah. He's pretty solid, moves really well, and made all the saves he needed to make today just to hold us to 0 points. Not 0 goals, but 0 points. 4 defenders in the back. Jalen Lindsay, a 23-year-old, but kind of in that same Diego Fagundes mold. He's been in Major League Soccer since 2018, played a ton of matches from early on, and he's a hometown kid. Really happy to be playing in Charlotte, from Charlotte. So good on Jalen Lindsay for being able to play in front of his hometown. I really liked watching Adilson Malanda, this 21-year-old French kid, big body, quick, solid, came over August of last year. And I had not seen him play. I really hadn't paid any attention to Charlotte very often, besides watching Kamil Joshwiak and Karol Świderski. But this kid, Adilson Malanda, 21-year-old, I'm predicting he's short for Major League Soccer. He's going to be going somewhere else in the near future. He looked very, very good today, especially 1v1 against Denis Bouanga. Defender Andrew Privet, 23-year-old from Maryland. He's not a Terp, but he's from Maryland. More on a Terp in a little bit. Defender Nathan Byrne, 31-year-old from England. He has cups of coffee with Wolves, Bournemouth, Brentford, lots with Wigan Athletic, but now he's playing in Charlotte. Their captain is midfielder Ashley Westwood, 33-year-old English player with extensive experience with Aston Villa and Burnley. And
the year at Burnley.
I know Brecht de Jager got a lot of love in this match. De Jager, there you go. Thank you, De Jager. I know Brecht de Jager got a lot of love from the broadcast team, but in my opinion, Ashley Westwood, man of the match. He was just dominating in every facet. Midfielder Ben Bender, 22-year-old former Terrapin. On his bobblehead day, midfielder Brant Bronico, 28-year-old from Maryland, bounced around a bit. A lot of Maryland ties on this club. Midfielder Derek Jones, not from Maryland, but 26-year-old, bounced around a lot for Major League Soccer. I think he's on his 4th or 5th Major League Soccer club. And this was his 100th MLS cap. Congrats to Derek Jones. Midfielder Brecht de Jager. There he is, 32. I had it phonetically right down there. There we go. De Jager.
Yeah, their media guide had the pronunciation for it.
He's played on a team that you've seen live, Philly, in Ghent and Toulouse. 32-year-old. Belgian, and did everything. I mentioned him on One More Sleep as that midfielder that they were really hoping would start to get the engine going for Charlotte, and he absolutely did. And forward Karol Swiderski, 26-year-old, the Polish player. All he does in his spare time on the Polish national team is play opposite one Robert Lewandowski. 20 goals in 58 games for Charlotte, and a handful of goals as well for the Polish national team. More players on the Polish national team are sitting in the 18 for Charlotte: Kamil Jóźwiak and Jan Sobocinski. Also, Scott Arfield, who made his goal-scoring debut today for Charlotte. I mean, the dude has almost 700 caps worldwide. He is a very, very good and experienced player. Justin Miram and Jere Uronen round out the 18 of the players that matter for the Queen City Charlotte FC. Philly, we know we don't have Giorgio. We know we don't have Cheeky. Who do we have?
Yep, as Scarf iterated, and it's been going on for a while. So whatever it is, we really hope it works out and nothing is bad. Excused absence, family matters, why Cheeky Palacios wasn't in the lineup. And we were also without Diego Rosales and Jesus David Murillo. And if you don't know why, well, chalk it up to what the injury bug for this season is, and that's lower extremity issues. Lower extremity issues. That's why they're not there. I would love to have somebody who has medical experience. I should probably just ask Panda. I mean, she's just in the other room. What constitutes a lower extremity? But anyway, I digress.
Whoa, hey, keep it clean.
Our starting lineup, not much different than what we saw on Wednesday against the Colorado Rapids, with the exception of Giorgio Chiellini. He did not make the trip across the country. He was not there. And as Aaron Long said in the post-game press conference, he adds a calmness to the back line that was certainly missing in this game. And subbing in his place as a center back, Daniil Maldonado and Aaron Long, the center backs. The outside backs, Sergi Palencia, who I'd say played a fine game, and Ryan Hollingshead, just coming off his second goal of the season, 4 shy of tying, oh my God, Graham Zusi for the most goals scored by a defender since 2010. Our midfield consisting of Timothy Tillman, Ilie Sanchez, and Mati Bogusz. Up top, Carlos Vela, my player to watch, El Pistolero himself, Mario Gonzalez, and Denny Bouanga. Our 18, Mamadou Fall, he did not play. Stipe Buke, he did. Maxime Crepeau, he did not. Daniel Crisostomo, he did not play. Eric Dueñas, he did not play. Kellen Acosta, he did play. Christian Oliveira, he did play. Nathan Ordaz, he played. And Fufu Philip Krosdev, he played.
Thank you. All right. I like it. All right, Philly, you're going to take the first 10 minutes or so of the breakdown here. I'll be perfectly honest. I was helping my mom with some stuff around the house and totally missed the first 10 minutes. Had to rewatch it after the fact, but I figure, you know what? Rewatching it doesn't count. You win. Go ahead.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, of course, it started out with the broadcasters saying that there was a heat index of 105 going on today in the Queen City. We talked about it on One More Sleep, 90 degrees and 60% humidity. Felt like it was 94 degrees. It was a game hot enough that this matchup required 2 hydration breaks, 1 in each half. Third minute, Charlotte, nice build up in the box. They were being dangerous, but our center backs took care of business. Bronico had a nice give and go in the 4th minute, but he didn't get enough off on his shot, thankfully there. 5th minute, Timothy Tillman had a tough shot, tough touch, gets hit with a foul, though, for pushing in the box. Denny, within the first 20 or so minutes, this is one of the only shots that we would see LAFC have. He had a long shot from outside of the box, just over the crossbar, and what we were looking to do was we were pressing high, looking to force a careless turnover by Charlotte, looking to punish them because, well, we're one of those teams that could really execute you on the counter if you aren't careful. 8th minute, Mario G sticking with it. There was a play in which he attracted a foul on, oh my God, my autocorrect completely screwed up. The kid you were talking about, Malanda.
It's always fun.
Yeah, yellow card there.
This is always fun for me. What does your autocorrect say?
Malabda.
Okay, that might
not be too terribly off.
That might not be autocorrect. That just might be you typing.
Yeah, it might be me typing, but I gotta tip my hat off to Mario Gonzalez. If he was a smaller player, Malanda would absolutely just beat him up, but he stuck with it. I mean, Malanda was hanging on to him, trying to exchange kits before the game was even over. That got a yellow card. Other thing that I noticed between this moment and the 12th minute, Scar Palencia was playing very good defensively at this point in the game, forcing a couple of turnovers, and we needed him to step up big time in the absence of Cheeky Palacios. I am starting to feel really bullish on Sergi Palencia and his performance. We were very thin as far as defenders are concerned on this team. If you look at the 18 that I had mentioned, well, only really Mamadou Fall would have been a defender with any kind of experience, and he just hasn't really got himself onto the pitch since that abysmal performance in which we were forced to utilize him when he came back from Spain. At one point, Nate, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, no. I wanted to mention, Philly, that problem with having pretty much only Sergi Palencia on the outside, that actually trickles all the way down through LAFC 2. Here's why. LAFC 2 had to play Julian Gaines for the entire 90 minutes last night down at Titan Stadium. They didn't have anybody else to play on that side, even on LAFC 2. And it's really interesting because to me, Julian Gaines is a guy where in a match like this, long road trip, he's younger, he's got much faster legs, he's young, he's a kid who really wants to cut his teeth with the first team club. You would have thought that this might be a match that maybe Julian Gaines sees the 18 just so he can get a few minutes. Maybe we can spell a guy like Sergi Palencia, spell a guy like Ryan Hollingshead. Maybe if you have to switch Sergi over the opposite side, then whatever it might be. But that problem trickles down even through LAFC 2, because at that match against Real Monarchs, they only had available to them 3 substitutes because of the Academy's tournament in Mexico and because of obviously needing guys like Nathan Ordaz and Eric Duenas in the 18 for the big club. So there's a depth problem at the wingback position all the way through the organization right now. And it's something I really think John Thorrington and company need to address.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the unluck of the draw. Like a lot of our players that are out are defenders. Cheeky, obviously, we mentioned him. Moody, we mentioned him. Obviously, Giorgio didn't make the trip. Yeah. I mean, if you look again at our depth, Mamadou Fall is the only defender. That was a big body. Eric Duenas has had some time back there, but you don't want Eric Duenas up against like some Swiderski. I mean, he would have gotten eaten alive. And that's really it. Danny Crisostomo is more of a midfielder. And that's really it. You would have had to completely change the formation. Nobody with that much experience. And that was unnerving, especially considering that the broadcast team had indicated the fact that the referee that was in charge of the game today had a history for issuing out the most yellow cards in his tenure, his 7 years officiating games. Luckily, a lot of those went towards Charlotte to begin with, and not as many on us. At one point, and I thought this could be a turnaround, Nathan Bird catches Carlos Vela in the back of the head. It's not a stat, but I was wondering if this would be the moment that Carlos would get up pissed. And when he's pissed, he decides to unleash hell on Charlotte, but unfortunately nothing was there. If I caught you up, do you want me to go on in the 12th minute, or are we going to go minute by minute?
Speaking of players getting pissed, Karol Swiderski got a little upset at Ilya. Ilya gave him a little shove in the back. And look, I thought that what the ref, you mentioned, he likes to give out a lot of yellow cards, but I actually liked what the referee did in this situation. He called Ilya over. He called Karol Swiderski over. And he said, all right, handle this like big boys, shake hands. Everybody's good to go. And Swiderski just kept chirping and chirping and chirping. And the ref was like, cool. All right, here's a yellow card. Now go play. Like, Ilya definitely caught him from behind and didn't get much of the ball. So Ilya had no problem going, yeah, dog, I fouled you. We're good, though. Like, we're cool. And he just kept chirping, didn't even look at Ilya. So it should have gone the other way. They shouldn't have got a yellow card. But Karol Swiderski probably said the right couple of magic words and earned himself a yellow card 12 minutes in. I really liked this. Look, what I really didn't like, though, Philly, is not just in the first half, but especially in the first half. Moments where we were getting ready for a buildup or in the middle of our buildup, and we commit a stupid turnover, whether it's picking the wrong lane for a pass, and I think some of this has to do with how the ball moves on turf. I think LAFC really have a hard time passing. I mean, our passing numbers, when you go over them at the half and at the end of the match, I have never, ever seen LAFC's passing numbers as poor as they were at the end of the first half today.
C-, bro.
I mean, they were awful, but I felt like we were also just picking the wrong lanes and not having the right touch. I still think it has a little bit to do with the turf, but a turnover by Denny Bwanga in the 17th minute and really good passing on the counter leads to an opportunity at the top of the box for Ashley Westwood. He pushes it well high and wide, but you saw how quickly and how methodically they were able to counter. I mean, they carved us up and came right back down. And look, Ashley Westwood is of a quality caliber player. He can finish chances like that. And then, of course, we give up a terrible yellow. No doubt on Timothy Tillman for absolutely cleaning out Byrne on that play. And look, Timmy just got there late and absolutely hammered him. He earned every bit. If you're going to get a yellow card, you might as well earn it like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He didn't even argue it. I mean, he helped him up. He knew right away that he was late. Guilty party. Ooh, sorry. Feeling a little verklempt here. At this point of the game, we're at 35% possession for Charlotte. And as I mentioned earlier, I really thought that they were going to be playing into Steve's tactics. I didn't think that Charlotte had the personnel to sustain this pace. And the thought is if LAFC just kind of gets to chill a little bit, they're going to be able to come back and just fight off aggressively. But you'd think, though, that the longer the game goes, if it was LAFC employing the same amount of pressure and ball possession that Charlotte did, that they would tax themselves based on the things like the turf, the humidity, the time delay. But that just wasn't the case. The one goal we did get, it was off by a mile. 26th minute, Mario Gonzalez passing to Denny. He was off by a mile, and the minute that Denny got his touch, he looked over at the official to see whether or not the flag was going to go up. But true to his efforts and his hustle, and by golly, did he have a lot of hustle and effort, even towards the end. More on that later. He buries it, but of course the flag goes up, offside. But that was the only dangerous run we had up to that point, going 20 minutes ahead of another shot that Denny hit way off target around the 5th minute.
Yeah, look, more frustrating, though, is the turnover of Mati Bogusz in the 23rd minute, where Jalen Lindsay he's an inch and a half away from springing Swiderski a 1v1 versus the keeper. And then, honestly, just frustrating that we can't get that buildup going. But you're absolutely right. Look, the no goal, he was a step and a half or so offside. And then Denny with the left foot right after that, after a nice turnover forced by Timothy Tillman. Nice diving save. Kalina made a little bit of a mess of it, but was able to corral it right back. But again, we talk about the turnover one more time. And it's Timothy Tillman who just forced a turnover. Well, what he took away, he gave right back and a lot worse. And what I didn't like about what Tillman did here is that he kind of sulked. He kind of got upset with himself instead of busting it back and trying to break up the counter, because it was a perfect counter by Charlotte. Just an awful decision by Timothy Tillman to pick the lane that he picked. It was 3v2, and he didn't have to pass the ball yet. The defender had not committed to a particular lane, and I'm surprised at Timmy Tillman for this one. And he'll be the first to say how bad of a decision it was. But that bad decision got compounded into a much, much worse scenario because we got caught. Diegera to Swiderski to Westwood, and all of a sudden it's 1-0 Charlotte. A nice little one touch out of the air by Westwood. I mean, the quality of these players. You got a guy coming over with extensive experience from Belgium in Diegera. You got the Polish national team striker in Swiderski, and the long-time English Premier League player who helped a club to promotion in Ashley Westwood. You have got 3 incredibly quality players here. I don't care what their 11 looks like. When 3 can get out there on the counter like that and execute the way that they did, it is curtains for LAFC, especially without Chiellini and Cheeky Palacios and Timothy Tillman dragging behind after creating the turnover. 1-0 Charlotte, and it does not look good for LAFC a half hour in.
No, and the thing about that play with Tillman, he had an amazing run. He got himself out of a rough patch, got through some defenders that he had no business getting through. And he forces, it was just an unforced turnover that led to that play. And as I mentioned early, like during our intro, this wasn't a better team than us, but at moments they were. And this was just such a brilliantly executed play. They beat us at our own game. We were holding back. We made the mistake and they punished us for it. And shortly after that, during that hydration break around the 31st or so minute, the stats go up. Charlotte 5-3-3 when scoring first this season, when conceding 1-6-2. And we've talked ad nauseum as to how good LAFC is anytime. What?
I said, hey, that's Latin.
Yeah, hey, you know a little bit about that. We
do.
talked ad nauseum about the fact that LAFC's only lost one game all season when scoring first, but it didn't happen what we needed to have happen, and that's us score first. But we have a hydration break, and at this point, there's something that I noticed. I don't know if any of y'all noticed it watching the broadcast, and hopefully y'all went out to the watch parties. I heard there were a lot of really good ones. A couple of ones close by me, but I opted to stay close to home and hang out with Panda and the Gremlins. That Vamos, insert your team. Esta noche. I swear that's the only thing I heard all game long. I mean, do the supporters in Charlotte not have any other chance? That's all I heard time and time again. And of course, it reminded me of our rivals down the 110. And that made me even more nauseous than the fact that we went down 1-0. Gross. I have to say, absolutely gross. Charlotte supporters, I know y'all have more chance than that. That was the only one that I heard. That was the only one that was vocal on your broadcast. Do better. Thank you very much.
Yeah, look, Charlotte, though, had a good crowd. What they said, 40,000 plus there for the matchup against
the champs,
LAFC.
of course.
I mean, that's pretty great, right? If you can get 40,000 in Charlotte, there's a lot of good things going on in Charlotte to do.
Yes,
so, hey,
I agree. Just need more chance. Not the Vamos one that everyone and their mother uses.
Yeah, well, Brant Bronico on his bobblehead night, taking out Aaron Long pretty hard. No yellow, even though it kind of looks studs up, and he didn't get any of the ball and got all of Aaron Long's leg, but that's okay. 42nd minute, good buildup by Charlotte. Ben Bender trying to look for Karol Świderski on the cross, but John McCarthy is there. Not the best game, not the worst game for John McCarthy, but this one, in my opinion, had nothing to do with the keeper, had a lot more to do with what we didn't do in front of him, unfortunately. Absolutely loved our chance in the 44th minute with Ilie Sanchez, a great ball to spring Sergi Palencia, but his cross, he had two runners, and I'm just confused. I think I'm going to say that I don't know if it's that Mario is new to the team. Maybe he was in the wrong spot, or maybe Denny Bawanga just missed getting to a ball. Maybe he saw Mario out of the corner of his eye and thought he was going to get to it, whatever it might have been, Philly. But Malanda did get a touch on this ball, and I think that's the real issue on the play. But that was another must finish kind of a chance with numbers going forward again. Sergi did what I thought he needed to do, put the ball in a dangerous space, but neither of our runners, and that's Mario and Denny, could get on the end of it.
Now, one could chalk that up to a few things, but we had already saw this at the Rose Bowl where Mario, not really knowing where his positioning should be, got in front of Stipe and prevented another goal from happening when LAFC was in position to score against Monterrey. It's the second time we've seen that out of Mario Gonzalez. So one could just chalk it up to chance. You said it, Malanga made the play, but I still think it's just a matter of chemistry between these guys. Denny, though, if there's going to be anybody to blame in this sense, Denis should have just taken it. He should have just saw, if he did see Mario, he should have just said, F it, kid. This is my team. I'm the leading scorer. I'm one behind the Golden Boot leader. Let me just smash it. But I think that sheer bit of hesitation is what led to Malanga making that play. But this is a chemistry thing that eventually is going to work itself out. I believe in El Pistolero. I've seen some quality out of him in his short spurts, and we're gonna talk about him momentarily. But I think this was more of a chemistry issue than just a by chance pass. But Ilie, brilliant to Palencia, like you said. I just think this chemistry, they got to work things out. Like I said earlier, Denny Bawanga, he wasn't gangbusters when he first came onto the club. It took a little while for him to acclimate. Once he acclimated, he started taking this league by storm. It's going to be a matter of time before El Pistolero does the same thing.
Again, I hope so. Really do. Mati Bogusz getting into the 18 in the 45th minute, but his cross was just well long. We have to recycle it all the way back out. And then Carlos Vela with, as we like to say, an ambitious effort from distance. His shot just a bit outside. A little too high. 5 minutes of stoppage time. Good defending by Aaron Long in the second minute. Corner by Denis Bawanga in the third minute. I took a minute and I just said, Denis Bawanga taking corners for us with both Mateus Bogusz and Carlos Vela out there on the pitch. It was a good corner, by the way. It had to be punched away by Kalina. Vela put it back in, but Aaron Long offside, and he clearly was on the play. And look, Philly, I got nothing else. This was just a miserable, awful, terrible. It was like Alexander's no good, horrible, terrible, very bad day, except it was the first half of football, and it was awful in Charlotte.
I don't know what any of that means that you just said. I don't have any idea who Alex or Alexander is. I'll just nod my head in agreement thinking that I do know what it means. It wasn't a great first half, Scarf. We did manage to get 3 shots off and had 1 on target, but we're coming from behind in a sorry. The middle schooler.
Wow, you're 12.
Yeah,
Wow.
the middle schooler.
I apologize there. He can do that, but he doesn't know Alexander's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Right.
Oh, the irony. We didn't pass well. I mean, we were C- D+ at best in terms of passing accuracy, if you really want to get the numbers. Charlotte controlled the vast majority of possession. It didn't really change much throughout the course of the first half or the game for that matter. The lion's share of possession with them. They had more of the shots. They had more of the shots on target. And I have no idea why American Express is reminding me of my June 1st pay or my September 1st payment. That's annoying. Squirrel. But yeah, not a great first half, but still going into the locker room. I didn't feel as if we were in a position where we needed to be in crisis mode. I called 3-1. You called 2-1. I still thought LAFC could regroup. They're just getting their legs from, underneath them. They just flown in less than 24 hours prior. And I really just thought that they would kick things up a notch in the second half with a break, some hydration, and some changing of some players, but not a very inspiring 45 minutes to start the game.
Not a very inspiring. I almost threw up my dinner. 33% possession. We completed 90 total passes. 90. Now, I guess when you don't have the ball, it's hard to complete more than 2 passes a minute. But 2 passes a minute for a Steve Cherundolo offense? 2 passes a minute for a club that just carved up Colorado? 2 passes a minute for a club that put a touchdown with the extra point up just a couple of weeks ago? This is awful. And I get it, right? There's so many excuses you can make, sure. But what's the excuse for your midfield getting completely dominated by Ashley Westwood? Ilie was nowhere to be found. Tillman was nowhere to be found. I felt like we were dominated. Philly, you're normally the one that talks about having to win the ball in the midfield. Their midfield between Diagara and Ashley Westwood completely dominated the run and the flow of that first half. I mean, simply awful by our midfield. And just a little frustrating to watch our boys get completely run off the pitch after flying 5 hours and a 3-hour time delay on turf. You can make a ton of different excuses, but I'm sorry. Sometimes you're the windshield. Sometimes you're the bug. That first half, we were definitely the bug to their windshield.
Or sometimes you're the dog, or sometimes you're the fire hydrant. In this case, we were the fire hydrant. Use your imagination for the rest. If you go back to listen to the press conference, Justin Ruderman, our good buddy, asked Steve about his thoughts on the Charlotte's midfield eating hours. And Steve, in a fairly salty manner, was, "I don't share your opinion, so I don't know what to say." Comment about that. He didn't believe that Charlotte's midfield ate ours, which is kind of surprising because, I mean, you said it. A couple of other people said it. I mean, if 20, 30, 40 people see the same thing, it's got to be right? I don't know. I don't have that kind of a tactical mind. I just, I see what I see and I say what I say because that's what I do. 48th minute, Ryan Hollingshead had a nice pass to Mario Gonzalez, but I think the pass caught him a little bit by surprise. He wasn't ready for that. And there's that Vamos chant again. 53rd minute, and if you had anything there before that, make sure you say, because you usually have brilliant insight and analyses. But off of a set piece that came from a very slowly called handball by Charlotte, ball goes from Bowanga to Bogusz, who had a nice little give and go. But Kalina made his first really, really good save of the game. You could argue the one he made on Denny in the 26th minute of the first half was good, but not as good as this one. It was a very pretty give and go between Mate and Denny, and that was promising. You needed a little bit more of that. I'm liking what I'm seeing between Denny and Mate at this point. And I'm just loving Bogusz in the midfield. It just completely changed his game and my thoughts on him. I love him there. I wish that shot had a little bit more Senf, as the Germans say. Senf is German for mustard. Kalina would not have made that shot if it was Denny in front of him. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's a great save by Kalina. Charlotte, turnabout is fair play, though. Gets a corner in the 55th minute. Derek Jones gets the header on it, but as they pointed out on the broadcast, he's falling away. Couldn't get a whole lot, and it's right at John McCarthy.
Soft, Scars. ASAWFT. Soft.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You haven't been watching wrestling in the last 10 years. You wouldn't get the reference. Never mind.
Yeah, no, sorry. By the way, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. That was sad.
Horrific. And Terry Funk.
And Terry Funk. You know what I
And
always say?
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker, 99 though. 90. There's nothing to be disappointed about. 99. By the way, I am going to end our episode a little bit differently today. So, look, 56th minute easy save by Kalina on Tillman's long effort, little worm burner as they call it, and also in the 56th, one of those ambitious efforts this time by Ben Bender. And in the 60th minute, this is where I really started to like Malanda, the defending on Denis Bouanga. 1v1. By the way, Denis' buddy over in Cincinnati scored today, Bupenza. 60th minute, great 1v1 defending by Malanda on Denis Bouanga. And in the 61st minute, Philly, you don't get sitters like this very often. We didn't dodge a bullet. We dodged somebody swinging the shotgun at us at point blank range. I don't know how we still come away down just 1-0. A perfect cross into the box. A perfect cross into the box right on the head of Jalen Lindsey. He wasn't even jumping. He didn't even have to do a whole lot. And somehow he just bangs it off the crossbar. It is not a crossbar challenge when you are standing in the box and using your head. It is from very, very far away. That's when you want to hit the crossbar. LAFC absolutely dodging a bullet, Philly. And I feel like that play right there was the one where Steve Cherundolo looked at his bench and said, all right, this isn't working. We need to switch things up, because right after that, you got Fufu coming in for Tillman. You got Kellen Acosta coming in for Ilie. And you have, how much fun is Christian Oliveira to watch? Christian Oliveira coming in for Carlos Vela. I got to say, normally I'm like, God, I really don't want to see Carlos Vela come off right now. He's still Carlos Vela. But something about Christian Oliveira coming in with just 27 minutes to play, and he's got all that sizzle, a little bit of wiggle. He is so much fun to watch. I was actually, this is no disrespect to Carlos Vela, but I was okay with that sub.
I wouldn't disagree. Moments into the match, he has a great pass in the box, and there's a through ball that Mario Gonzalez allows, and it's Fufu trying to get, he's the intended target, but Westwood, going box to box in this case, gets Charlotte out of trouble. 67th minute, though, our fortune changes because, like you said, Diagare was so unbelievable at creating that chance for Jalen Lindsey. Surely the soccer gods are going to be on our side if that goal didn't go in. Aaron Long clears it. It starts a break. A great ball into Denis by Christian Oliveira, who finds Mario Gonzalez, and he absolutely put Christian Kalina in his place. That is the making of a true number 9. A very fantastic goal by El Pistolero himself, his first of the day. He opens his scoring account. Denis contributes to another goal, 1-1, and I'm starting to feel really good. This seems like a brilliant tactical move by Steve, adding these players in because they completely changed the dynamic of this game. Rather boring, rather anemic. Minutes later, it got exciting, and now we're at a draw.
And again, I think a lot of it still has to do with Christian Oliveira. As you mentioned, he's the one that got the ball to Denis Bouanga, and of course, Denis finding Mario. But look, what we find with these matches is that it's a series of moves that win you the match, not just one. And what we did in the 63rd minute is exactly what they did in the 72nd minute, subbing on Joshviak, Arfield, and Uranen for Byrne, Jones, and Bender, and all of a sudden they look very, very different. And just 4 minutes after making their subs, it's the old man, Scott Arfield. Swiderski's shot was saved nicely, but our defenders are flat-footed. They weren't looking to help out on the save. They were caught flat. And it's the 38-year-old, if I remember correctly, Scott Arfield. I don't know. He might not be 30. I think he's 38. I talked about his experience during One More Sleep. Almost 700 caps for clubs up and down top divisions. And this new look Charlotte club, again, I talked about this at the opening, Philly. Play 70 minutes with your starters. See out the result if you can. You get them to 1-1 and think, all right, now I can push my chips into the middle. And to have him be able to do that, to have Charlotte's manager be able to do that after LAFC was forced to make their first pushing chips into the middle move with the 3 substitutions they made just 10 minutes earlier, that was a huge win for Charlotte. Even if they didn't get the goal right away, and they did, it was still tactically, again, exactly the script that I felt like Charlotte wanted to write from the beginning of that match.
J-Mac did make a great save initially, but like you said, nobody there to clear it, and we get punished. Arfield, I have to tell you what I think of every time I heard that name being mentioned. A combination of John Arbuckle's name and the cat Garfield's. Arfield. All I thought was Jim Davis cartoons the entire time that he had his name mentioned. And it honestly put a smile on my face until the 75th minute. Not good to be back in a position to where we're playing from behind. And I never felt like we were ever in a position to where we were gaining ground. I came into this game thinking we would whoop up on this team. Then after about 60 minutes, I thought to myself, all right, I'm going to be content with a draw. Now at this point, I'm like, oh God, we're losing. We're going to lose. I hope we get a draw. Didn't even think we would get the win. And like, it kind of all went downhill from there. 78th minute, sub for LAFC. Stipe comes in for Mario Gonzalez. And you'll have to excuse me if I didn't pull out the cavalry trumpet and started celebrating and being overjoyed. I wasn't thrilled about this, but I was hoping to eat my words. The way I'm gaining faith in players like Palencia and Mario Gonzalez, I'm starting to lose it with Stipe Buke, especially when it comes to making things happen offensively, although he almost got lucky at one point. But the cavalry trumpet didn't come out. 83rd minute, Diagare ends up getting subbed out, and thankfully, because he was absolutely carving us and creating so many phenomenal opportunities for his teammates. MLS veteran and the favorite son of the state of Michigan and a Columbus Crew legend, Justin Meram, enters into the match. And in the 84th minute, Scarf, this is where, again, I didn't want to pull up my cavalry trumpet. Stipe had a shot to, well, absolutely nowhere. Not on target, not very good, not the correct side of his foot. It was kind of like one of those, I don't want to be right. I want to eat my words, but I was right.
Yeah, look, Justin Meram, by the way, the only player in Major League Soccer representing Iraq. The corner by Charlotte, which Swiderski heading it over the bar, was great. I thought that was another problem of not having a player like Giorgio Chiellini in there, because Chiellini does so much on that back line and on set pieces to clear things out. I really, though, again, I'll say it over and over again, what this kid, Christian Oliveira, brings when he gets subbed in, especially in these super sub roles that we're seeing, we're asking him to play 20, 25 minutes or so. He just looks absolutely electric. Great pressure to force the turnover from behind. I mean, an incredible turnover forced by Christian Oliveira in the 87th minute, but a very good save by Kalina. Got to give him props. Kalina did everything he needed to do to keep his team in the match today. Not the best of efforts on the shot by Oliveira, but I just love what I see in very limited minutes from this kid. He gives you much more space than Mario Gonzalez, I feel like he does. We've talked twice now about Mario potentially being in the wrong lane or being in the wrong spot. A couple players playing in a phone booth is never what you want to see in Major League Soccer or at any level.
What an image.
Soccer.
Kids these days even know what phone booths are.
I was going to say, kids, I'll explain to you what a phone booth is later. Just look up, where Superman used to change in and all that stuff. In the 88th, we get Nathan Ordaz on for Mati Bogusz. Not the best game for Mati Bogusz at all, but made some things happen on occasion. And man, was Charlotte stalling for that substitution in the 88th minute? Like Sobachinski coming on for Malanda, but it was like a whole thing. I mean, yeesh. And by the way, at the time of that substitution, now you have Sobachinski, Joe Swiak, and Swiderski all on the pitch at the same time for Charlotte. 3 players of Polish descent. I wonder how many times that's happened in Major League Soccer ever, to have 3 players of Polish descent all on the pitch at the same time for one club.
Great Krakow, Batman. Those are some really good players, though, I have to say. You talk about the stalling. All right, now we're starting to get into stoppage time with 9 minutes. So there still is hope on the horizon. And this is something that won't appear on the stats. The officials barely mention it. You won't hear it on anybody's podcast or recap, but ours. And this just tells me the kind of player that Denis Bouanga is. Jalen Lindsey was taking his time to throw the ball or find a ball, for that matter, to throw back out from the sideline. Denis Bouanga hustled to the sideline and grabbed the ball and threw it to him. Jalen Lindsey wasn't very happy about that because he was trying to stall. But it's little things like that that make me love and appreciate the competitor that Denis Bouanga is. While there are players out there that evidently look gassed and tired and heavy legs, this guy kept going. Even at the very end, a couple of minutes after that stalling tactic that failed for Jalen Lindsey, Denis absolutely megs Privet. And unfortunately, he skies it. And as the color commentator, Danny Higginbottom, stated, he needed, and by he, I mean Denny, he needed more placement over power on that shot because he absolutely put Privet in his back pocket, was like, hold my beer, I got this. So the shot was well out of play. Kalina would have never had an opportunity to do that. But I just love that this guy just keeps pushing and pushing. You want to talk about somebody who bleeds for the crest, who bleeds for this club, who wants to win? I don't think there is a more fiery, more ambitious competitor on LAFC than Denis Bouanga. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think there's ever been somebody as ambitious, hardworking as Denis Bouanga. How many players would come off of a flight, completely jet lagged, go in and play a game and say, I just want to play and I want to win? I can't say that about Carlos Vela. I can't say that about Chicho Arango. I can say that about Denis Bouanga, though. I love number 99. I love this man.
Look, you have to remember, he said it over and over again in press conferences that he just wants to play. He doesn't care if it's every 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. This is the same player, by the way, that got off of 20 hours worth of flights after playing with the Gabonese national team and then pops into a match and scores the stoppage time winner. This is a guy who just wants to be on the pitch helping his club. And that's even after he plays for country, like in the same 24-hour window almost, it seems like. Denis Bouanga is definitely built different, although we needed him to put that one in the back of the net. The bobblehead guy, Brant Bronico, gets a yellow in the 6th minute. And look, I really liked this over-the-top ball that Aaron Long is able to come up with after it ping-pongs off of a couple of Charlotte defenders. Fired that shot. I mean, it was a great effort by Aaron Long, blocked out for a corner. But damn it, Stipe, the corner kick curls out of bounds before it comes back in. 6 minutes of stoppage time, man. We need a guy out there. Kellen Acosta was on the pitch, right? Why isn't Kellen Acosta taking that corner kick? Why is Stipe? I know we got to hurry, but I'd much rather have a quality opportunity over a rushed opportunity. And it was simply a poor effort on that corner. If we're only going to get one more opportunity in the match, granted, there's 9 minutes of stoppage, but at the end of the 6th minute, when you're having Stipe Buke take that corner and he curls it out of bounds first, negating any opportunity you have after a solid opportunity on a perfect pass to Aaron Long, of all people. When you can earn a corner off of something like that, and then you just throw it away on a poor effort by Stipe, really frustrating.
Are we talking about the same thing? Because if it was that corner that there was a whistle, I thought it was Krostev that took it. And I don't think it would have made a difference anyway, because I think we got called for a foul for a push in the box.
No, the commentator was incorrect on it. He said it wasn't a foul. It was that the ball curled out of bounds first. The whistle happened.
Okay.
As soon as it was just, you could be right, by the way. And if it's not Stipe, I apologize. But if it was Fufu or if it was Stipe, if it's Krostev, I'm even more pissed that it's Krostev taking it. A guy who's been on the club for 6 minutes, especially when you have a player who we watched for the U.S. men's national team deliver 3 assists, and it should have been a 4th in Kellen Acosta for the U.S. men's national team off of set pieces alone. Why isn't Kellen Acosta taking that ball? I don't care what foot, what side of the pitch. It should have been Kellen.
No, you're 100% right. And one thing I actually missed within that 92nd minute is he did have, by he I mean Kellen, he did have a great pass in the Stipe. And the one thing that Stipe did that almost resulted in a goal for us is he's taken it on that sideline and he finds Oliveira. Problem is Oliveira got the wrong part of the foot on it and skied it. And that same play that Aaron Long had, that rocket shot, that came off of a pass from Kellen Acosta. So no, you're absolutely right. 99th minute, or ironically enough, our number 99, Denny whiffed a shot. I don't know if he was trying to pass it and it was off the mark or if he really just tried to go upper corner. He couldn't find the back of the net, but I do have to say, the whistle blows right there. And then he still worked his tail off trying to make things
Sure.
happen. And, I got to say, like, we really had some nice chances to tie this game. And the unfortunate thing is we failed to do so. We were never in a position to take charge and get the lead. It was 9 minutes to be exact from the time that we tied the game for John Arbuckle / Garfield to come back and put his team up. I mean, we were playing from behind the entire time. Charlotte came, they played their game plan out. They executed it well. And, I have to apologize. I didn't think they could sustain the pace of LAFC. But then again, with 2 weeks off and a chip on their shoulder, they were able to accomplish a lot. And in the 90 days in which they hadn't won a Major League Soccer regular season game, we hand them their 4th win of the season and their 7th overall. But again, no Cheeky, no Chiellini, no Moody, but more importantly, honestly, no excuses. We couldn't score, and that's not because of any of the absent players. It was just a lack of finish in the final third. It was a sluggish performance. It was bad passing. I think the final tally is 72%. Yuck. But, I mean, there is a silver lining, and I assume that you're probably going to talk about it. But, that's really the game in a nutshell. This is me, an LAFC loss in a nutshell.
I'm really frustrated with LAFC in this one because this is yet another club that is in the bottom third of the table that we drop points to. I don't care if it's home or on the road. When we have the star right here over the crest, and we got that last year, that means we need to be better against clubs like this. That means we need to be better in situations like this. And look, I think from the top, John Thorrington, Steve Cherundolo, all the way down to the very last player on the bench, they'll all tell you the same thing. These are the types of matches where we need results. If you want to be the best team in MLS, hell, if you want to just be the best team in the West, when teams right behind you in Real Salt Lake and right in front of you, like St. Louis, both drop points on the day, you have to go get those 3 points, especially with the gauntlet that is September coming up. We have 6 matches in September, and every single one of them is a potential loss for LAFC. I'll tell you why. We got Messi at home next, right? Everybody knows we got Messi at home. Not sure if you've watched Lionel Messi in Miami play recently, but they forgot how to lose, guys. The dumpster fire that was Inter Miami is now a freight train blazing down the track. Messi needed 20-something minutes to score today. And
what'd you call him?
They kept saying New York for this one, which was kind of funny because they were playing in Jersey.
Yeah.
But Messi and Inter Miami, they're a coming. But the other 5 matches we have in September, may I please remind you, we get Carson coming to BMO and we get Tigres coming to BMO in the Campeones Cup. And then we have 3 road matches in the month too. How about Philadelphia Union? You think they're going to have anything to play for when they see LAFC coming into their building? The Sons of Ben? Come on now. How about the team that's ahead of us in the standings, St. Louis? We go to St. Louis to play them. And, oh, by the way, who's that 6th team? They're kind of a dumpster fire in that they fired their coach, Giovanni Savarese, but Portland plays on, say it with me, turf. A surface that we just can't seem to do anything with. Those are our 6 matches in September, folks. Will we still be in 2nd? Will we get our act together and find a way to catch St. Louis and be 1st? Or they're only 3 points back. Seattle's right behind us. Salt Lake is right behind us. We got a lot of clubs. Houston now in the mix after their win today. Just 5 points back of us. This could be an extremely pivotal month for LAFC. And God, I hope that everything is okay with Cheeky Palacios. And I hope Giorgio Chiellini can stay healthy. And I hope Denis Bouanga continues on his golden boot trek. And we need everything we can get from players like Fufu and Kike and Super Mario, guys that we weren't even talking about a month ago. We need everything that we can get from those type of players because September will determine our fate, whether it's Champions League and winning the West or whether it's bowing out early in the playoffs. I think September is going to have a lot to do with it.
But you said the word hope, and winning the West is still a very realistic ambition. It can happen. It absolutely can happen. We face, you said it, that messy freight train in a week. But the advantage is we're going to be rested this time around because there's a ton of games going on Wednesday. Finally, somebody other than LAFC is going to have to play on a Wednesday, and that's going to be everybody. And what I do know is Nashville is going to beat up on Miami. In particular, they have a point to prove, a score to settle after having lost to them in the League's Cup. So I don't care if I don't want them to beat Miami. I really don't. I just want them to physically hurt Miami. I want Miami to be tired somewhat because I want to absolutely hang those ibises from the rafters of BMO Stadium. I'm tired of all the messy hubbubaloo. I love the guy. He's amazing. What he did with DeAndre Yedlin and the captain badge and the doing the League's Cup thing. I love the man. He's classy. It's a joy to watch him. But I don't want to see him come into our building and succeed. And again, for those that are walking around with messy kits and LAFC hats, think twice about doing that. I'm not telling you how to live your life, but to me, that's the same as rolling around LA with a Celtics jersey and a Lakers hat, or being in New York and walking around with a Yankees jersey and a Red Sox hat. At this point, Miami becomes a rival. Don't sport the two rivals, the two teams on you because you look like a schmuck. If the kids do it, the kids don't know any better, but you as the parents had better be a lot more cognizant about the look and the optics of that. This is LAFC. If you're an LAFC supporter, you wear the black and gold at BMO Stadium. There had better not be any pink jerseys. And for all you fake Miami fans that are now MLS supporters, we love you because in a way you have brought some notoriety to our league, but I don't like you because you're not really a Miami fan. You're just a Messi fan. And if you want to give me $4,000 for my ticket, I might still be mad at you, but not as much. But look, I went off on a tangent. All in all, though, it is very realistic for us to go out there and win the West. It's the only way of us getting in a Champions League and securing some higher standings for next season because Supporter Shield's out the window. I will tell you this. I do think that even if FC Cincinnati wins the Supporter Shield, which at this point I think they can, they are going to go by way of what the New England Revolution did the year before we did some stuff. I don't see this team a viable option for them winning the whole freaking thing. I really don't. And Messi in Miami, their margin of error, what? They have 2 games in which they can lose. One, they can send 2 draws. I don't think they do that, Scarf. I really don't think they do that because I'll tell you, we are going to be the team to hand them one of those losses. And there's somebody else within that Eastern Conference that's going to catch them snoozing and catch them slipping. And as a result of that, they're going to bow out. It's going to be the most incredible story where you have a team that wins League's Cup, wins Open Cup, doesn't make playoffs. Can't wait for that headline. I'm going to be terrified for next season when this season resets. But for now, I do not have the confidence that Miami's going to make the playoffs.
All right, listen, your Cincinnati prediction, man. Brandon Vasquez, Aaron Bupenza, Luchi Acosta, who might be the MVP of the league this year. Solid keeping. That's a quality club, and there's a reason why they've boat raced out to where they have. I like your optimism, although there is another way for us to get in a Champions League, and that's just to win the whole damn thing, whether we finish first, second, third, or fourth in the West, whatever it might be. I want to give everybody, because we're pretty much done with this episode. I want to give everybody a quick moment of levity, because every now and then you just have to laugh. Today, the Carson Galaxy were set to unveil Diego Fagundes, their newest player. He was set to make his debut. However, on the official team sheet that they submitted to Major League Soccer for today's game, he was listed as number 14 on the roster, a number currently occupied by a player named Chicharito, instead of his normal 21, which it was supposed to be his number for the Galaxy. So even though he changed into a number 14 kit today and tried to sub in, he was not allowed to come on the pitch. So Diego Fagundes has to make his debut at another time. I just needed something to laugh about. And Alex Ruiz on Twitter, ALX Ruiz 15, provided us with that moment of levity. If you can see the screen, I'm just going to allow you to take your screen grab while you can. Philly, let's not get into that on the episode.
Fine. If you could see it, It's hilarious.
But there's the
It's literally on
speed.
their social media. It's hilarious, and I'll just leave it at that because you reminded me of comedy that came out of Carson, and that's between that and the advertisement on social media. I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff, but
It's pretty good.
There was no laughing match. Chicago wasn't laughing today because Galaxy whooped up on them 3-0.
Yeah, well, when you get a red card in the 20-something minute, that'll happen. All right. Philly, I'm about done. I think you're about done. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. So if you all lasted this long, thank you so much. And you guys know how we like to end each and every. Oh, we're going to end our episode a little bit differently today, Philly. And this one, I'm going to end it this way, if you don't mind, for just this one time for today. Help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. That's for you, Bob Barker, 99 years old. That's how he used to sign off every episode of The Price is Right. So that's for you, Bob. And in that case, we might as well end it the way we always do. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.